What is a mentor? A mentor is someone that you can connect and share time with and share information with and have conversations with who have wisdom beyond where you are currently in your life. Don't assume this is someone older. Often it's someone who's older, but it could be someone who's younger than you. But it's someone who has more experience and more wisdom in a direction you want to go. Sometimes people think of mentors as famous people or rich people or people they want to be like, but you want to find mentors who can help you go from where you are to the path and the vision of what you want to achieve. Finding mentors is not always easy, but the first thing to do is to be open to finding a mentor, to be willing to listen and to connect and to look for someone who might be a mentor to you. And ask your network, ask your friends if you're looking for a mentor. Be specific. I'm looking for this type of person with this type of wisdom, with this type of experience, because mentorship can accelerate your journey and get you there so much faster and with so fewer mistakes and regrets. That's why a mentor is important. And I know in my life I've had several mentors. From my high school basketball coach, who I found just because I love basketball, who was like a second father to me. And he was brutal, he was tough, he was hard, but I knew he cared and I knew he wanted me to be better. So that was one of my first mentors, was my high school basketball coach. But I've had mentors in business and mentors in life. So I think of Wendell, who was the oldest partner, is the oldest partner of a company that we worked with for many years, sold to Blackstone for $1.6 billion, and incredible human being, cares about children's charities just like I do, built a company much larger than the company that I've built. And I met Wendell through raising money for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metropolitan Phoenix. And he cared about that charity and so did I, and so we were raising money and hanging out together. And as I started to get more informed and learn more about him, I did notice he was older. I did notice he was wiser. I noticed he built a bigger company than mine. I noticed how he interacted with other people and how he was perceived when he walked into a room. People respected this man immensely. And because of that, I wanted to learn more. And that's how I got to spend time with Wendell. And he changed my life in so many ways, with advice about business and how to deal with employees and people and how to deal with growth and how to deal with equity. So that was one of my big mentors. Another was Lloyd. And I met Lloyd at my very first job as a financial advisor. And I worked for a big brokerage firm that was in New York, and we were in the Phoenix office. And I got to know Lloyd. Lloyd also was a lot older than me. But things I noticed about Lloyd: very respectful, very disciplined, very caring, very good at relationships. He listened very well. And his marriage to his wife had been long and had been rich and was one of the greatest marriages I ever knew. We lost Lloyd earlier this year, and he was married to his wonderful wife, Paula, for almost 60 years. So all those things I admired in Lloyd, and what I learned from Lloyd is I learned discipline, and I learned to believe in myself, and I learned to take personal responsibility from the things that Lloyd did in his own life. And he had a rough life when he was young. So that wisdom about how to be a professional, how to be a friend, how to be a mentor, how to be a business owner, how to handle employees, and how to handle challenges. So I've had my fair share of mentors in my life. People like Lloyd, people like my basketball coach, Coach Levetter, when I was in high school, and people like Wendell. And my life would not be as successful, as rich as it is today without having met those mentors. But I had to be in the right places, I had to be open, and I had to want to connect and to learn from them. So I hope you find a mentor if you don't have one, and if you have one, spend the time to learn and to grow with them. When you're looking for a mentor, you might ask, how far ahead do they need to be as far as how far ahead of you? And I'd say that depends, because they could be light years ahead of you, or they could just be slightly ahead of you and they can be a good mentor. But what makes a good mentor is not only what they know that you don't know and what they've achieved that you haven't achieved, but also, do they have a way of communicating that resonates with you so that they can help you take the very next step and help you see the long-term vision? Those are the two things: seeing the vision and taking the next step. And if you spend time with that person and you feel like either they're not helping you see the vision or they're not helping you take the very next step, that's probably not the right mentor for you. So the farther in advance doesn't matter. You can have them a little ahead of you or a lot ahead of you, but they have to be able to help you see the vision and the next step. When you're thinking of a potential mentor, don't think of the Elon Musks of the world, or the Bill Gates of the world, or the Oprah Winfreys of the world, because they're not accessible. And there are millions of people who would want Oprah as a mentor. So think about mentors that are more approachable and more accessible to you. And that could be your next door neighbor, that could be someone through a networking event, that could be someone who works at your company, that could be someone on social media that you're following, because people are more accessible today than they ever have been. And I've known entrepreneur friends of mine who got to be friends with very famous entrepreneurs just through DMing them on a social media platform. So think about someone who's accessible, someone who's approachable, and someone who has the gifts and the talents and the wisdom that would help you move forward. Then the next thing, and this is critical, make sure you show up with value. So often people who want mentors, they show up thinking about themselves, like, how can this mentor help me? And they might think, yeah, but I can't help that mentor. That person's so successful. That person's so accomplished. I don't have anything to offer. That's not true. You haven't thought enough about it. Find out what that potential mentor cares about. Think about the charities they're involved with, or their family, or their grandchildren, or their children, or their spouse, or what hobbies they have, or what interests they have. And then show up with some ideas, with some value to offer, with something they might not know that would help them. If you do that, I can tell you the accomplished people are going to be surprised because they never hear it. It's always about, what can you do for me, mentor? I want this help. I need this help. I want you to have lunch with me. I want to pick your brain. I want to have breakfast with you. But rarely does that person get someone who comes and says, hey, I know you're interested in this. I am too. And here's something that's worked for me that might work for you. Or I know you care about this one charity. There's an event coming up and I just sponsored it. I'd love to meet you there. Think about some way you can add value to that potential mentor first, because that's going to change the game. They're going to be surprised and say, wow, usually people don't come to me with an offer of something to do for me. They always come for me with an ask of what to be done for them. So look for the mentors that are accessible and approachable, the ones that can help you grow in your life and in your business, and the ones that you can add value to and lead with that value so that they know you're not just that taker that's coming to get the most from them. Mentors have made a huge difference in my life, and I know they can make a difference in yours. I hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.